The seatbelt sign lit up. I slowly opened my eyes. For a moment, I forgot where I was. Then I looked out the window. White clouds, a bright blue sky, and below them, a city I had never seen before. I couldn't stop smiling. After months of planning, saving money, studying English, and dreaming about this moment, I was finally here. A calm voice came through the speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be landing in approximately 10 minutes. Please return to your seats and fasten your seatbelts. Thank you. I took a slow breath. This was it. My new life was about to begin. Oh, I almost forgot. Hi, I'm Sarah. Welcome to Learn English Daily. I'm so happy you're here. From today, you're coming with me. We'll travel together. We'll meet new people. We'll solve little problems. We'll make mistakes. We'll laugh at them. And little by little, English won't feel like a subject anymore. It will simply become part of your life. So don't worry if you don't understand everything. You don't need to. Just stay with me. Ready? Let's begin. I looked around the airplane. Most people were quiet. A man closed his laptop. A little girl rested her head on her mother's shoulder. Someone folded a newspaper. A flight attendant walked slowly down the aisle. Everyone was preparing to leave. I opened my backpack. First, my passport. Still there? Good. Then my phone. Good. My wallet? Perfect. Whenever I travel, I always check these 3 things. Passport, phone, wallet. Your turn. Say them with me. Passport, phone, wallet. Excellent. You'll hear these words many times during our journey. Outside, the airplane was flying lower. Now I could see roads, cars, trees, buildings. Everything looked smaller than I imagined, but somehow it also felt closer, more real. My heart was beating faster. Not because I was afraid, because I was excited. Have you ever felt excited and nervous at the same time? That's exactly how I felt. A few moments later, the wheels touched the runway. The airplane landed safely. Some passengers clapped. Others smiled. I smiled too. We made it. The captain spoke one last time. Welcome. We hope you enjoy your stay. Welcome. What a beautiful word. Sometimes, one simple word can make you feel at home. Remember it? You'll hear it again today. The airplane stopped. Nobody moved. Everyone waited. A few seconds later, the seatbelt sign turned off. People stood up. Some reached for their bags. Others stretched after the long flight. I stayed where I was. Travel has taught me something. There is no prize for leaving the airplane first. Sometimes, waiting 1 extra minute makes everything easier. When the line became shorter, I picked up my backpack. Then I walked toward the door. The flight attendant smiled. Thank you for flying with us. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. You too. You'll hear you too everywhere. Someone says, have a nice day. You answer, you too. Someone says, have a great weekend. You answer, you too. It's simple, natural, and very common. I stepped out of the airplane. Cool air touched my face. The airport was bright, modern, and much bigger than I expected. People were walking in every direction. Some looked tired. Some looked excited. Some were saying hello. Others were saying goodbye. I looked up. Large signs hung from the ceiling. Arrivals. Restrooms. Baggage claim. Immigration. I smiled. One word caught my attention. Immigration. That was my next stop. I followed the sign. Without realizing it, my adventure had already begun. I followed the signs. The airport was busy. People walked beside me. Some were talking. Some were looking at their phones. Others were pulling heavy suitcases. Every few meters, I saw the same word again. Immigration. I knew I was going the right way. The hallway seemed endless, but I didn't mind. Everything around me was new. Every sound, every face, every sign. Finally, I reached a large hall. There were several lines. Each line led to an immigration officer. I quietly joined the line. There were only a few people in front of me. Good. Maybe it wouldn't take long. I looked around. A young couple was smiling as they filled out a form. An older man was reading a small notebook. A family was trying to keep their little boy busy. He wanted to run everywhere. His mother laughed. His father picked him up. Everyone had their own story. And today, mine was just beginning. I checked my passport one more time. Still there? Good. Then I smiled. I was checking it too often. Maybe I was a little nervous after all. Have you ever done that? Checked your pocket? Even though you already knew everything was there? I think we've all done it. The line moved forward. One person. Then another. Soon. It was my turn. I walked to the counter. The officer looked up. He smiled politely. Good morning. Good morning. May I see your passport, please? Of course. I handed him my passport. He opened it, looked at my photo, then looked at me. For a second, nobody spoke. Then he asked, "What is the purpose of your visit?" Before I answered, "Let's see if you understood the question." What did he ask? Listen one more time. What is the purpose of your visit? The purpose means the reason. Why are you here? Now listen to my answer. I'm here to study English. Very simple. Very natural. The officer nodded. How long will you be staying? I had prepared for this question. I'll be staying for 6 months. He typed something into his computer. Then he asked, Where will you be staying? At the Green Park Hotel. He smiled again. Is this your first visit? Yes, it is. Welcome. I hope you enjoy your stay. Thank you. I hope so too. He stamped my passport, then handed it back. You're all set. Have you heard that expression before? You're all set. It simply means everything is ready. You can go. You'll hear it in many places. At airports, hotels, shops, restaurants. It's a very useful expression. I smiled. Thank you. Have a great day. You too. There it was again. You too. The second time today? I placed my passport safely back into my backpack. This time, I checked twice. Not because I was nervous, because I didn't want to lose it. I walked toward the next sign. Baggage claim. One step closer. One step deeper. Into my new life. I followed the signs to baggage claim. The hallway became quieter. Then, I heard it. The soft sound of suitcase wheels rolling across the floor. People were arriving from different flights. Some looked happy. Some looked tired. Some were already talking on the phone. I walked into a large room. There were several baggage belts. Each one had a large screen above it. I looked for my flight number. There it was. Flight 247. Belt 6. Perfect. I walked over and found a place to stand. The belt was still empty. People waited patiently. No one seemed to be in a hurry. A few seconds later, the belt began to move. Slowly, very slowly. One suitcase appeared. Then another. Then another. A man smiled as he picked up a black suitcase. A little girl waved excitedly when she saw a bright pink one. Everyone watched the belt, waiting for their luggage. I watched carefully, too. Most suitcases looked almost the same. Black, gray, dark blue. That's why I tied a bright yellow ribbon to my suitcase before I left home. It was easy to find. A small idea, but a very helpful one. Can you guess what color my ribbon was? That's right. Yellow. A few more bags passed by. Then I saw it. My blue suitcase with the yellow ribbon. There you are, I whispered. I picked it up carefully. It felt a little heavier than I remembered. I laughed. Maybe I packed too many clothes. Or maybe too many books. I placed the suitcase beside me. Then I looked around. Passport? Yes. Backpack? Yes. Suitcase? Yes. Everything was with me. That felt good. As I started walking away, I noticed a young man looking confused. He picked up a suitcase, looked at the tag, then quickly put it back. He laughed. Wrong suitcase? The woman next to him smiled. It happens. He laughed again. I guess they all look the same. She was right. Sometimes they really do. I continued walking toward the exit. Ahead of me, I saw another sign. Customs. There were 2 lanes. One said, "Nothing to declare." The other said, "Goods to declare." I had nothing special with me, so I walked into the first lane. A customs officer smiled politely. "Good afternoon." "Good afternoon. Do you have anything to declare?" "No." He nodded. "All right. You're all set." There was that expression again. "You're all set." I smiled. "Thank you. Enjoy your stay." "Thank you very much." I took a few more steps. Then, the automatic doors opened. Bright sunlight filled the entrance. People were waiting behind a barrier. Some were holding flowers. Some were holding balloons. Others held small signs with people's names. I could hear laughter. Someone shouted, "Welcome home." A little boy ran into his grandmother's arms. 2 friends hugged each other. A family waved excitedly. For a moment, I stopped walking. I simply watched. Everyone was happy to see someone. I smiled. Even though no one was waiting for me, I didn't feel alone. Not really, because I knew my adventure was only beginning. I took a deep breath, picked up my suitcase, adjusted my backpack, and walked toward the next chapter. Outside the airport, the warm air greeted me as I stepped outside. I stopped for a moment. Not because I was tired, because everything felt different. Different sounds, different smells, different voices. Cars moved past me. People crossed the street. Someone laughed. A bus pulled away. A taxi stopped at the curb. I smiled. I was really here. The first thing I needed was an internet connection. Without it, I couldn't check my map. I couldn't send a message home. I couldn't book a ride. Near the exit, I noticed a small shop. A sign above the door said, "SIM cards." Perfect. I walked inside. A young woman stood behind the counter. She smiled. "Hello?" "Hello. How can I help you?" "I'd like to buy a SIM card, please." "Of course." "How long will you be staying?" "For about 6 months." "In that case, I think this plan will be a good choice." She showed me 2 different options. One had more data. The other was a little cheaper. I listened carefully. Then I made my decision. "I'll take this one." "Great choice." "May I see your passport, please?" "Sure." I handed it to her. She entered a few details into the computer. Then she placed a new SIM card on the counter. "It'll only take a minute." While she worked, I looked around the shop. There were phone chargers, headphones, travel adapters, power banks, and shelves full of snacks and drinks. Airports always seem to have everything. A moment later, She smiled. All done. She placed my phone in my hand. Could you please check if it's working? I looked at the screen. A few seconds passed. Then, the signal appeared. Almost immediately, my phone buzzed. One message. Then another. Then another. I couldn't help smiling. I was connected again. Everything works perfectly. Thank you. You're very welcome. I picked up my phone. The first thing I did was send a message to my family. It wasn't a long message. Just one sentence. I arrived safely. Less than 10 seconds later, my mother replied, I'm so happy. Take care of yourself. We love you. I smiled. Sometimes, a short message means more than a long conversation. I put my phone back into my pocket. Now I needed one more thing. A ride to my hotel? Outside the shop? There were many people waiting for taxis. Some drivers were helping passengers with their luggage. Others were chatting while waiting for the next customer. I walked toward the taxi line. A man wearing a name badge smiled at me. Taxi? Yes, please. Where are you going? The Green Park Hotel. He nodded. No problem. Follow me. He picked up my suitcase before I could. Oh, thank you. My pleasure. We walked together toward a clean white taxi. He opened the trunk, placed my suitcase inside, then opened the back door for me. Here you go. Thank you very much. You're welcome. I sat down. The seat was comfortable. The driver started the engine. Then he looked at me through the mirror. My name is Alex. I'm Sarah. It's nice to meet you. It's nice to meet you too. As the taxi slowly pulled away from the airport, I looked out of the window. The airport became smaller and smaller behind us, and somewhere ahead, a completely new life was waiting for me. The city slowly came to life around us. Tall buildings stood beside small cafes. People were walking to work. Others were sitting outside with a cup of coffee. Everything felt busy, but not rushed. I rested my head against the window. I didn't want to miss a single moment. Alex smiled as he drove. So, is this your first time here? Yes. I've never been here before. Then welcome. I think you're going to like this city. I already do. He laughed. That's a good start. We stopped at a traffic light. A cyclist rode past us. A woman walked her dog across the street. A group of students waited at a bus stop. The light turned green. We continued driving. So, Alex asked, why did you choose this city? I smiled. I came here to study English. Really? Yes. I've been studying for months, but now I want to use English every day. He nodded. That's the best way to learn. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. I know, but I still get nervous. That's normal. When I started learning another language, I made mistakes every single day. Really? Of course. And sometimes, I still do. We both laughed. His answer made me feel better. Maybe I didn't have to speak perfect English. Maybe. I just needed the courage to speak. Can I tell you a little secret? Many English learners think they need perfect grammar before they start speaking, but that's not true. Speaking is how you improve, not the other way around. So, don't wait until you feel ready. Start now, one sentence at a time. The taxi passed a beautiful park. Large trees moved gently in the wind. Children were playing near a small fountain. People were jogging. Others were walking with friends. Alex pointed toward the park. That's one of my favorite places. It looks beautiful. It is. If you have time, you should visit it. I will. Maybe next weekend? I think you'll enjoy it. I hope so. A few minutes later, we drove through a quieter neighborhood. The streets became narrower. Small bakeries stood beside flower shops. The smell of fresh bread drifted through the open window. It smelled wonderful. I realized something. For the first time since the airplane landed, I wasn't nervous anymore. I was simply curious. Curious about the city. Curious about the people. Curious about everything. Sometimes, the hardest part isn't arriving. It's taking the first step. After that, the next step feels much easier. Alex looked at the GPS. We're almost there. I looked out of the window again. A few seconds later, I saw a tall building with a green sign. Green Park Hotel? I smiled. That would be my home. At least for a little while. Alex pulled up in front of the hotel. The taxi came to a smooth stop. I looked out the window. The building was even nicer than it looked in the photos. Large glass doors. Bright flowers near the entrance. A small green sign above the door. Green Park Hotel. We're here, Alex said. I smiled. Thank you. He got out of the taxi before I did. By the time I opened the door, he was already taking my suitcase out of the trunk. Here you go. Thank you so much. My pleasure. I reached for my wallet. How much is the fare? It's $32. I handed him the money. He counted it quickly. Then he smiled. Thank you. Keep the change. Are you sure? Yes. Thank you very much. You're welcome. He closed the trunk. Then he looked at me. I hope you enjoy your stay. Thank you. I think I will. It was nice meeting you. It was nice meeting you too. Have a wonderful day. You too. For the third time that day, I used the same expression. You too? It already felt natural. Alex waved. Then he drove away. I watched the taxi disappear around the corner. For just a moment, everything became quiet. I turned toward the hotel. This was the beginning of another new experience. I picked up my suitcase, walked through the glass doors, and stepped inside. The lobby was warm and peaceful. Soft music played in the background. A few guests were sitting comfortably in the lounge. Someone was reading a newspaper. Another guest was quietly working on a laptop. The air smelled fresh. I walked to the front desk. A receptionist looked up and smiled. "Good afternoon?" "Good afternoon. Welcome to Green Park Hotel." "Thank you. How may I help you today?" "I have a reservation." "Certainly. May I have your name, please?" "My name is Sarah." She typed for a few seconds, then looked up again. "May I see your passport, please?" "Of course." I handed it to her. She checked the information carefully. Everything was correct. She smiled. "Thank you. You'll be staying with us for 6 nights. Breakfast is served from 7 until 10 every morning. Wi-Fi is free throughout the hotel. If you need anything, please let us know. Thank you." "That sounds great." She placed a small key card on the counter. "This is your room key. Your room is on the 5th floor. The elevators are just around the corner." "Perfect. Thank you very much." "You're very welcome." Before I walked away, I had one more question. "Excuse me? Is there a supermarket near the hotel?" "Yes. There's one just 2 blocks away. It stays open until 10 o'clock. "Wonderful. Thank you." "My pleasure." I picked up my suitcase again. Then I looked at the key card in my hand. Room 507. For the first time all day, I felt completely relaxed. The long journey was finally over. Or at least, that's what I thought. I walked toward the elevators. The lobby was quiet. I could hear soft music playing in the background. A couple was checking in. Someone rolled a suitcase across the floor. Then, the elevator doors opened. I stepped inside. There was only one other person, an older gentleman. He smiled politely. "Good afternoon." "Good afternoon. What floor?" "The 5th, please." "So am I." He pressed the button. The doors closed. For a few seconds, neither of us said anything. Sometimes, silence isn't uncomfortable. Sometimes, it's peaceful. The elevator moved slowly. Then the man smiled again. "Business or vacation?" I smiled. "Neither. I'm here to study English." "That's wonderful." Learning a new language opens many doors. I hope so. I'm sure it will. The elevator stopped. Ding! The doors opened. "Have a nice day." "Thank you." "You too." He laughed softly. "I live here." I laughed too. "Oh." "Then have a wonderful day." "Thank you." "You too?" We both smiled. Then we walked in different directions. The hallway was quiet. The carpet made every step almost silent. I looked at the room numbers. There it was. My room. I held the key card against the lock. A small green light appeared. Click. The door unlocked. I slowly pushed it open. The room was bright, simple, clean. A comfortable bed stood beside the window. There was a small desk, a chair, a lamp, a television, a closet, and a little coffee station. It wasn't a large room, but it felt welcoming. I placed my backpack on the chair. Then I rolled my suitcase next to the bed. Finally, I took a long, slow breath. I made it. Those 3 words felt special. Not because I had reached a hotel, because I had reached a dream. I walked to the window. The view overlooked a quiet street. People were walking home. A cyclist passed by. A bus stopped at the corner. Life outside continued as usual. But for me, everything had changed. I opened my suitcase. Carefully. Inside were my clothes, my notebook, a few books, my favorite sweater, and a small photo of my family. I picked up the photo. Everyone was smiling. I smiled too. I already miss you. Then I remembered something my father told me before I left. Don't be afraid of new beginnings. They're usually the start of something wonderful. I placed the photo on the bedside table, right next to the lamp. It made the room feel a little more like home. I sat down at the desk, opened my notebook, and wrote today's date. Under it, I wrote one sentence. Today, I started a new life. I closed the notebook. Then my stomach growled. I laughed. I guess I'm hungry. I looked at the clock. There was still plenty of time. The receptionist had told me about a supermarket nearby. Maybe I could buy something to eat. Maybe I could take my first walk through the neighborhood. I picked up my room key, looked around the room one more time, turned off the lights, and smiled. Tomorrow, I would begin studying English. But tonight, I was simply going to enjoy my first evening in a brand new city. And somehow, I had a feeling. This journey was going to change my life. I left my room. The hallway was as quiet as before. A few moments later, the elevator doors opened. I stepped inside. This time, I was alone. I looked at my reflection in the mirror. This morning, I was on an airplane. Now, I was standing in a hotel, in a city I had dreamed about for months. The elevator reached the lobby. The doors opened. The receptionist smiled as I walked by. Enjoy your evening. Thank you. You too. I smiled. That expression already felt natural. Outside, the air was cooler now. The sun was beginning to set. Golden light covered the buildings. People were finishing work. Restaurants were filling with customers. The city felt calm. I walked slowly. There was no reason to hurry. Just 2 blocks later, I found the supermarket, exactly where the receptionist had said it would be. Automatic doors opened. I picked up a small shopping basket. I didn't need much. A bottle of water, a sandwich, some fruit, and a box of cookies. Nothing special. Just enough for my first evening. At the checkout, the cashier smiled. Hello? Hello? Did you find everything you needed? Yes, thank you. Great. That'll be $12.50. I paid with my card. She handed me the receipt. Have a nice evening? You too. There it was again. You too? Without thinking, without translating, it simply came out naturally. As I walked back to the hotel, I realized something. Today, I had spoken English many times. Not perfect English, just real English. Simple English, useful English, and that was enough. When I returned to my room, I placed the shopping bag on the table, opened the curtains, and looked out the window one last time. The city lights were shining now. Cars moved quietly below. Some people were still walking. Others were laughing outside a cafe. Everything felt alive. I smiled. This morning, I arrived in a new country. I passed through immigration. I collected my suitcase. I bought a SIM card. I met Alex. I checked into my hotel. And now, I was ending my very first day. Not bad for one day. Before I went to sleep, I opened my notebook again. This time, I wrote 5 words. Welcome. Passport. Wallet. Immigration. You too? 5 words. 5 expressions. 5 small steps. Tomorrow, I would learn even more. I closed the notebook, turned off the light, and whispered, Good night. I'll see you tomorrow. In the next episode, we'll leave the hotel together. We'll explore the neighborhood, order breakfast, meet new people, and learn even more everyday English. I can't wait. See you in episode 2.